across the street from here is the main branch of our Salt Lake City Library on the passenger side here. Quite a beautiful building. It is an award-winning building for its architecture. So if you're in this area and it's not too hot, luckily we're coming out of the summer, so I don't think we'll have too many more 105-degree days anymore. But in the evening or in the morning when it's a little bit cooler, if you're in this area, I would definitely recommend walking around here. There's a park here around the City Hall that's called Washington Square. You get a little closer to that building and see some of the detail work. It's quite beautiful. And then even walking around the main branch of our city library here is quite beautiful. In the back there's a courtyard area, and you can see this kind of dramatic use of line. There's this color that comes down and swoops along the front and curls around to the back there. That is a beautiful building to see closer up as well. If you are in this area and walking around, I recommend going into the atrium for the library. That's where you can really see the architecture on full display from the inside. Our library system, definitely something that the city is proud of. That's the main branch. We have about 5 or 6 other branches around the city, but they're pretty active in the community, particularly as books have become digitized more. I know the way that I interact with the library is renting ebooks or Kindle books. I don't think it's a physical book anymore, and this has been kind of a trend. So libraries, they have started to be more active in the communities. Our library system works a lot with the unhoused population in Salt Lake. And then they also do skill building workshops within the community. So it's a pretty cool library system. If you look on the calendar, sometimes they have pretty fun events too. So if you're looking for something to do, you can check the calendar for the Salt Lake City Library. So the City Hall and County Municipal Building. Kind of an interesting story with that. Our main settlers out here were the Mormon pioneers. We'll talk about their story in a little bit more detail in a bit. But for many years, they were the main settlers in this area. So they were a pretty tight-knit religious group who crossed the plains of the Rocky Mountains in covered wagons and hand carts. And so they had a pretty close community out here. With the mining jobs, a lot of folks started moving out here outside of that religious community. And they found a sense of community in Freemasonry. So this is the fraternal organization that was quite popular in the 17 and 1800s, still is popular today in many areas. So you had these kind of two communities out here. You had the Mormon pioneer community, and you had those outside of this pioneer community who often centered together around Masonry. And they were sometimes rivals in different ways, and one of those was with architecture. So our Mormon pioneers, they built an absolutely beautiful building out here. We'll drive by later on, the Salt Lake Temple. Magnificent building on Temple Square that was finished in 1893. It took 40 years to build. It was quite the process to build this building. They were pulling granite out of Big Cottonwood Canyon. It's about a 45-minute drive south of here. And if you were loading up those big granite blocks on a truck, that wouldn't be too bad. You could get it up here in about an hour, but they were pulling it behind oxen, so it took quite a bit longer. I think they say 11 or 12 days to move one stone from the quarry site to the construction site. So that's why it took so long to build that building. But it's absolutely beautiful. It's built in a Gothic architectural style. Actually, the architect, he went around Europe and drew inspiration from many of the great cathedrals of Western Europe, which are also often built in this Gothic architectural style. But if you've seen the Salt Lake City Temple before, there are a couple of things it's famous for. It has these 6 tall, beautiful spires. Has this beautiful stonework on it, and on the tallest spire is a statue. If you've ever seen an LDS temple before, this is a golden angel. It's called the Angel Moroni. So the Masonic community, they planned and designed the City Hall, and they planned it to kind of rival the Salt Lake Temple. So again, they don't look exactly the same, but it's also built in a Gothic architectural style. It has these big, beautiful spires on the top of the building. And then there's this large statue of the Lady Columbia, so it kind of rhymes with the Salt Lake Temple. It was also finished a year later in 1894. So this rivalry in the community, this gave us 2 absolutely beautiful buildings for, again, this kind of small frontier town in the middle of the desert up here in the Rocky Mountains that we probably wouldn't have had otherwise. We saw another example of that with our train depots, this kind of rivalry between the train lines. One built a beautiful train depot out here, and so the other train line, the Rio Grande train line, decided they needed to build one. So some of the rivalries in this area have given us some quite beautiful architecture. Okay, we are driving out to This Is the Place Park. It's a little bit of a drive to get out there because we're going to head up the mountain a little bit. That's what's going to give us this beautiful view that we'll have in a moment. But some of the most historic buildings that